All right, let's get right into it. We're going to talk about an idea that for so many of us feels deeply, deeply familiar. It's that feeling that for a huge chunk of our lives, we've been, well, kind of performing, following a script that we never actually wrote for ourselves. We're going to explore what happens when that performance just isn't working anymore, when it's time to finally go beyond the mask.
I mean, think about it. For years, you played the roles you were given, right? You were the good child, the high achiever, the responsible one. You hit all the milestones, you checked all the boxes, because that's what you were supposed to do. It was, in a way, a strategy for survival, for acceptance, and for love.
But here's a wild thought. What if that whole first act of your life, what if it wasn't the main event at all? What if it was just the preparation, the dress rehearsal, for the real story that's only just about to begin? Now that is the question we're diving into today.
So, let's really look at this first half of life. It helps to frame it as exactly that, a rehearsal, a time that's really dedicated to mastering the performance that society, our families, and our culture expect from us.
And what does that performance look like? Well, it looks a lot like these roles, doesn't it? We get really, really good at playing these parts. Now, these aren't bad things, but so often we adopt them out of a sense of duty or expectation, not because they come from our deepest truth. That mask, it gets us praise, it helps us fit in, and it makes us feel safe.
And right there, that's the core conflict, isn't it? On one side, you have the societal script, the clear instructions: conform, achieve, follow the map, and you'll be happy. But then, on the other side, even when you're doing it all perfectly, there's this quiet, nagging feeling inside, your soul's truth, whispering, yeah, but this isn't it.
You know, this isn't just a new agey idea. It actually taps into a really powerful psychological framework. The psychologist Carl Jung talked about this as a totally natural part of life. The first half is all about building our identity in the world, our ego. And the second half? Well, that's when we're called to turn inward and find out what's been hiding underneath it all along.
But here's the thing about a performance. It can't last forever. It's exhausting. And eventually, the soul just starts to push back. And that's when we begin to see the first little cracks appear in that mask we've been wearing for so long.
This rebellion, it doesn't usually start with a bang. No, it's much quieter than that. It's a subtle nudge that's so easy to ignore in the chaos of daily life. It's just a tiny moment of restlessness, a flicker of doubt, that feeling that something's just off.
And if you could give that little whisper a voice, this is exactly what it would be saying. It's not your inner critic beating you up. It's the voice of your real self, the one that's been buried for a while, just trying to get your attention.
So what happens when we ignore that whisper? We get busier, right? We drown it out with more work, more distractions, literally anything to avoid facing that feeling. But the soul? It doesn't have endless patience for us living a lie. And that whisper, if ignored long enough, eventually grows into a full-on scream that makes it impossible to keep pretending.
And this is so crucial. What we often label a midlife crisis is actually something way more profound. Think of it as a sacred breakdown. It feels like total chaos, but it's really a breakthrough in disguise. It's the moment your life force literally refuses to participate in a false story any longer. It is not a failure. It is an awakening.
This awakening, it leads to the biggest pivot point in this whole journey. It's the moment you make a conscious choice to change how you navigate your life, to totally shift your inner compass for good.
And this says it all right here. The shift is so fundamental. For the first half of life, the question driving almost every decision is about what other people think. Will they approve? But in the second half, that compass completely reorients. The new guiding question becomes purely internal. Is this true to me?
So what does life actually look like when you start navigating from this new place? Well, for one, it requires you to completely tear up the old rulebook on what success even means. Just think about how we're taught to measure a good life. The old metrics were all about accumulation, piling up titles, wealth, accomplishments. It was about performance and getting that external validation, always chasing more. The new metrics, they're about alignment, presence, and trusting yourself. Success stops being about how much you can get, and it becomes about how much you can let go of to just be real. And in this new way of living, something absolutely amazing happens. Vulnerability, the very thing we were taught our whole lives to hide, it actually becomes a source of incredible strength. Being authentic, saying no when you mean no, showing up without the mask, that's not weakness. Oh no, that is pure liberation.
So let's bring this all home. This isn't just a cool theory to think about, it's an invitation. It's an invitation for you to understand that your real life, the one that's lived from the inside out, begins the very moment you decide to start this journey.
And listen, you don't have to blow up your entire life overnight. This path starts with really small, simple steps. Can you practice just 5 minutes of silence a day to hear that inner voice? Can you just name the fear that's holding you back, just to take away some of its power? Or maybe just reconnect with something you used to love as a kid before anyone told you what was valuable. That's where it begins.
And if any of this is resonating with you, I really, really want you to hear this. You are not broken. You are becoming. This whole process, it isn't a sign that you're behind schedule in life. It's a sign that you are finally, truly arriving.
So, the final thought I want to leave you with is this. The second half of your life is not some quiet winding down. It is not the epilogue to a story that's already been written. It is the main event, and the pen is finally in your hand. The only question left is, what are you going to write?